Joining me now in a Kelly File exclusive, Ed Nero, Sr., the father of Officer Nero. Thank you so much, Ed, for being with us tonight. Your reaction today when you heard the not guilty verdict?
Extremely happy.
Describe for the audience what your son has been through this past year.
It's been a very trying year for the entire family. From the moment he was placed under arrest, charges were brought against him by Ms. Mosley, and up until today it was a very hard year. And now that it's over, I personally am very ecstatic about the whole situation.
What did you make listening to DeRay just now talk about how, notwithstanding the verdict, your son needs to be facing more penalties and that the laws need to be changed so that people like him are held to a higher standard?
Well, as far as your previous guest, I find him to be a very ignorant person. He obviously has no clue what he's talking about. I sat in the courtroom every day and listened to what each side had to say, and not even being a father, just being a person listening, the facts were what they were, and the state appeared not to prove a case, and my son was found not guilty as a result of that.
Officer Miller, who's also a defendant in this case and was the one who first placed Freddie Gray under arrest, was given immunity and forced to testify against your son. When he took the stand, he testified, I think to the prosecution's surprise potentially, that he and he alone caught and handcuffed Freddie Gray. He minimized the involvement of your son. And today he sat with your family as your son was found not guilty, and he appeared very emotional. Your thoughts on Officer Miller and all of this?
Officer Miller appears to be a very good man. I don't know him. He is a co-worker with my son, but I believe he would have quite a bit at stake at this, as well as the rest of the defendants and the entire country of police officers.
What was your reaction today, Ed, when the protesters followed you out of the courthouse and shouted at you?
Scared, because they were shouting things that were uncalled for. They were rushing to judgment. Obviously, people didn't pay attention to the case. It was amazing that during the entire process, there was one protester that stood on the corner. Beyond him, there was nobody else there. And today there was a lot. It was very fearful for my younger son, because apparently they assumed he was my older son, who was Officer Edward Nero, and it was difficult getting out.
So they didn't watch the trial play out at all, unlike you. They didn't sit in there day after day after day, and yet you have people like Mark Lamont Hill over at CNN tweeting out, "The criminal justice system is not designed to yield justice for dead black bodies. This is yet another reminder of that." Your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think it has to do with color, and people are making it into a black and white issue. It really doesn't matter what color the person is. I mean, people do deserve justice, but, you know, it played out in the court system. Fortunately for myself and my family, it played out the way that we hoped that it would and felt that it would. We never felt for a moment that my son had done anything wrong, and the court proved that. And I'm so happy with the judge, Judge Williams. I thought he did a superb job on both sides. He was very fair.
He's been praised by everyone. Ed, let me ask you about your son before I let you go.
As well as myself.
30 years old. He was a volunteer firefighter for 10 years, then joined up with the force, had no marks on his record whatsoever. Sometimes we forget about what this kind of an experience puts the officer through. It was described as a year of hell for him. Has it been?
Yes, it has, truly. But as far as what he is intending to do, obviously, I heard before you went on air some of the things that have been issued. The gag order, wasn't aware of it, as well as the process that he'll have to go through. I assumed that he would have to go through police administration. But I don't think it's necessarily fair that he is not allowed to resume his duties until all the others are completed. I don't think that's fair.
He's stuck on a desk job now until everyone has their trial and the outcomes are settled, even though he's been adjudicated not guilty.
Yes, even though he's not guilty.
Ed, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kelly.